Hey guys, girls and everyone in between, and welcome back to Nimby Rails. My name is Cywer, and in this series I will take you on a journey through Europe. In the last episode of this series, we took care of the Klaipėda region with 3 brand new regional lines to draw passenger demand for our network. In today's episode, we will move on from Šiauliai and the region towards the city of Kaunas. Welcome to Lithuania. Just like always, let's not waste any time and go straight to the building process. Between Šiauliai and Kaunas, there's nothing special. There are 2 stations that have a bigger yard, but besides that, it is just a rural line through Lithuania. It is double track, or let's say I made it to be double track. With the service from Vilnius and Kaunas to Šiauliai, I think it is okay to have it as a double track all the way. At least that gives it the more mainline character, and I don't have to schedule that much. The first interesting part of the route is Palemonas station on the eastern end of Kaunas, and I also decided here that a small redesign would be necessary. With the high-speed tracks from Riga to Kaunas running through the station, I decided to give it a more modern layout. The original layout was a passing track, 2 platform tracks, another passing track, and then 2 more platform tracks, which is a layout that you can understand once you look at it for a little bit longer, but I wanted it to be more simple, so I just gave it 2 through running tracks in the middle, and then with a little bit of space, 2 platform tracks right beside it. Just a typical high-speed station where the trains can pass in the middle without any problems, and the trains that do stop, they can just go to the side. On the northern end of the station, I added a second platform to give it a visually better end to the yard next to it. The yard next to Palemonas station will also be more or less very important, not more or less, it will be very important, because that will be our main depot for a lot of tracks from Kaunas. Later there will be all high-speed trains parked here. The ones that run from Kaunas to Riga, the ones from Kaunas to Vilnius, and also those high-speed trains from Kaunas to Warsaw later down the road. All in all, the station was good to build, very modern, very parallel layout, so nothing too scary, and one of those stations where you can very well use the parallel track tool. So of course, when we already talk about Kaunas and the Kaunas region, what is the most important station of the entire region? Exactly, Kaunas main station. The layout is quite interesting with 2, or better say 3 very long platforms, which theoretically allow that 2 trains stop on the same platform at the same time. Then a little bit to the south of the 3 very long platforms, there are 2 very short platforms, more for the regional trains and only allow a single train to stop there at a time. I more or less really like this layout because it is very easy to use with our project. There are 3 long platforms for 3 high-speed lines. So 1 for Vilnius, 1 for Warsaw, and 1 for Riga. I will put those lines together just a little bit on the very first 2 long platforms, and then the 3rd long platform will be used for the important regional trains. So the one to Šiauliai, which will be run by City Elephants, and also the one to Vilnius, which will of course also be run by those double-decker trains to give a high capacity. The 2 platforms that are a little bit further out are more or less good for all the regional lines that are not that important and that don't have to stop on the big platforms. Those will probably also just run with flirt trains that fit these small platforms quite well. In the building process, I also double-tracked the tunnel through Kaunas and also added a little bit more tracks in general, just to allow less complicated scheduling later down the line. And I also didn't do the depot south of it, because I have no clue how to use it yet, but maybe in the future. But for now, everything will go to Palemonas. The station build itself is super fast because I'm used to bigger things, let's say it like that. Kaunas isn't the biggest station, and it was a very fast but nice build, and later down the line it will be very important, but for now, Kaunas is done, and let's get into scheduling the lines. What you can see here is we played at double the speed that I normally schedule the lines, or that I normally set up the lines this way, so that you get a feeling you can stop the time I need to set up this line and then just double it, which will give you the reality, the time it needed in reality. Just outside of Kaunas you can see the 2 stations with the big yard. If I ever add cargo one day, then they will be important. For now they are just another stop on the line and we just skip them. The The train doesn't skip them, but yeah, you know what I mean. I just click the small arrow to tell the train to stop, and then we will never go to the stop again. Okay, we could go to the stop again when I add the trains from Vilnius to Šiauliai, but you know what I mean. It's just one of those stations that are not relevant. When I set up the last stop in Šiauliai, I check the timetable, because it is important to know what platform it has to be on, what time I can send it out, and if the slot is clear. But platform number 2 works properly, so I can go ahead and work on the Rail Baltica area or the high-speed line. So I just have to build the rest of the high-speed line. And there's also a very fast part, not too fast, but you get it. The game itself is at a very low pace, which makes it so beautiful to play, because everything you do is in your own hands. It doesn't matter if you want to build extremely fast, you can do that. You can build slow and detailed. And in the end, if you look at other people's builds and networks, don't get disappointed with yourself, or don't think that your network is bigger and that means it's better. In the end, this is a sandbox game. I don't want to compare it to Minecraft, because you can't, it's a totally different game, but I think you get what I want to say, and everyone should work in their own pace and create their networks like they personally want. But yeah, let's get back to the high-speed line setup. It is the easiest setup you can do. One stop at the beginning, one stop at the end, and in between I have to set a few waypoints just to make sure the train is riding properly and not accidentally going on the wrong side of the tracks to prevent head-on collisions. Here you can also see how it looks like when you have to rebuild your approach just a little bit later, because you never thought about one line. Riga to Kaunas was always the last line that would be finished from the station. Okay, maybe Riga to Helsinki will be finished even later, because it will only be finished once we go to Finland, but the basic approach from the north is done for high-speed trains. From the south, it isn't. So I had to install switches, for example, just to make the train's approach more stable and prevent collisions in the approach area. And like I just said before, I also had to place a lot, and if I say a lot of waypoints just to make sure that the train is driving on the right side of the track to prevent collisions, signal issues, just the average stuff. How do you prevent this? Relatively simple. When you're building tracks or stations or big intersections, always remember to place the one-way signals so that the switches you placed, for example, won't allow the trains to actually go on the wrong side of the track. Once we are finished with that, I just go through the entire line to check it and to see if it's actually working like I intended to work. And once I'm done with that, well, it is time to schedule the lines and to add a new train type. You know how much I love the schedule, so I will do it off cam because it is horrible sometimes. But see you when the trains are running. Oh, what do we see here? It is an TGV running with the wrong headlights. That's just a Nimby Rails thing. But yes, it's time for TGV duplex to run in the Baltics. They have a high capacity, so everything I need. They are better than the ICE, so that allows a new train type. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you again in the next one, when we once again expand the Baltic network. See you and bye bye.